Sacred Books presents Myth-Told Tales by Robert Asprin and Jody Lynn Nye, narrated by Noah Michael Levine. Introductions. Welcome to Myth-Told Tales. In this collection, you will find all the short stories yet written in the world of the myth adventures. A few are by Bob Asprin alone, a few by only Jody Nye. The majority are collaborations between the two authors. Some feature Oz and Skeeve. Others feature such characters as Tananda, Chumley, Guido, and even Gleep. 3 of these stories appeared in the chapbook format volume of the same title. One story, Mything Instructions, is the only standalone story included with a Myth Adventures novel, Something Myth Inc. One other story, Mything in Dreamland, appeared in Fantasy Masters, a collection of stories by top fantasy writers set in their own worlds. The rest of the stories, about half this book, are new, and this is their first appearance anywhere. This is the point where an editor is supposed to say something meaningful about the literary work and its social import. Not in your life. Myth Adventures has always been about being fun to read and laughing along with the characters. So, all that needs to be said is, enjoy. Editor. How Robert Asprin and I came to be writing new myth adventures. Jody Lynn Nye. "You should work together," one of our well-meaning friends said. "You're both funny. You'd be good." I remember that we eyed each other with the same suspicious expression as a couple of cats thrown together by their owners and told to play nice. "Oh, Butch would be nice to Fluffykins. See, they're making friends already," one would say, as the cats growl at each other under their breath. Fluffykins is already flexing and unflexing her needle-sharp claws. Butch is baring his teeth. He has a notch out of one ear. His tail twitches from side to side. Fluffykins notices this movement and suddenly arches her back. Butch's eyes widen and his ears flatten. There is a discreet blackout. When the scene reopens, one cat is licking the other's ear. Both are purring. You didn't see what happened in the middle, but let's just call it staking out of territory. The owners are not looking quite as calm and complacent as they did before, but the cats have become friends on their own terms. I'd always been a fan of Bob's. How could I not love someone whose best-known book was a paraphrase of one of the great comedy catchphrases of all time? And the quotes at the chapter heads made me laugh out loud. The story itself was a picaresque novel worthy of Cervantes. Here, I realized, years before I met him, was someone who'd been steeped in the same comic history I was. I loved his comic timing. I loved his characters. At that time, if you told me I'd be working with him, that I'd work with any of the amazing people I have since I first read Another Fine Myth, I'd have laughed in bitter disbelief and gone back to my terrifyingly toxic day job. I knew of Bob through another common interest, the Society for Creative Anachronism. Neither of us are active now, but he'd already retired from the field by the time I joined. Long and storied was the legend of Yang the Nauseating, founder of the Dark Horde and loyal opposition to the Crown. "With all due disrespect to your majesty," was a phrase I was told he often used in court, where the royals and nobles, who all went back to mundane jobs when they took off their silken raiment, often took themselves too seriously. Bob was the pin that punctured their self-importance. He was a legendary figure at science fiction conventions, known for singing and playing the guitar at parties and filk sessions, drinking Irish whiskey and occupying the center of the most sought-after circle in the bar, and for his prowess with the ladies. You may not know it, or you may. Bob has spread himself about a bit over the years, that he is one of the premier hand-kissers of our time. Almost everyone I knew had a Bob story. Some were first-hand, but most were urban legends. I have reason to know some of them are only urban legends. He and some similarly inclined friends created the Dorsai Irregulars and the Klingon Diplomatic Corps, organizations to which it is considered an honor to belong. So steeped in the hype, I trembled when I first met him at his home in Ann Arbor, Michigan. He and his then-wife, Lynn Abbey, good and old friends of my then-fiancé, now husband Bill, did their best to put me at my ease. Both of them are truly kind and hospitable people. Bob and Lynn drew me into the conversation as best they could. I sat goggle-eyed as they talked about their close friends as if they were just ordinary people. Those names were the stuff of legend to a newcomer like me. Gordon R. Dixon, the gourd-father of the Dorsai Irregulars. Wendy and Richard Peeney of ElfQuest, the great Bowl Anderson, C.J. Cherry, George Takei, more. At the time, they were still editing and writing the original Thieves' World series, the shared world anthology that gave shape to all the shared worlds to follow. They'd been everywhere I'd hoped to go. I was a literary novice, but they treated me like an equal. I adored them for it. Believe me, not everybody who's made it is so secure or generous. Bob and I did have a bunch of things in common. We were the sensitive halves of our respective pairs. We're desperately soft touches for cats. We love the great acts of the post-vaudeville movies like the Marx Brothers and the aforementioned Laurel and Hardy, and good funny movies in general. We both admire Damon Runyon, whose stories were the basis for the musical Guys and Dolls. We both like Disney's Sleeping Beauty, though his favorite character was Maleficent, and mine were the fairy godmothers. We both do needlework. Really, he's very good at it. And, well, we write humor. When the inevitable suggestion was made that we should really think about doing something together, I was willing. One of the things I admired most about his writing was that he could be funny, very funny, without being sickeningly cute or dragging a joke until it...
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.